Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Issues, a Voice of the People TV, where we bring you the most important and pressing issues shaping our nation today. I am your host, Jerry Apelai, and tonight we'll be diving deep into major developments in the Nigerian polity. Stay with us as we analyze these critical issues with our expert panel. And this is a conversation you won't want to miss. We begin the show today where the Obidient movement denies reports that Peter Obi will be Atiku Abubakar's running mate in the 2027 general elections, calling the claims unfounded. And away from that, where the senior advocate of Nigeria, talking about Femi Falana, criticizes a proposed bill making voting compulsory, calling it unconstitutional and contradicting rights to privacy, freedom of thought and conscience. Instead, he suggests prioritizing electoral reforms and making Chapter 2 of the Constitution justiciable. And still more, where the Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani attributes the relative peace in Southern Kaduna to his inclusive leadership, free from religious or ethnic bias, and his government's focus on development and infrastructure. Right after this short break, we'll dig deeper into these topics and more. Don't go away. Welcome back. Let's dive straight into today's discussion. We told you earlier that the Obidient movement, a group of supporters of former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, has denied reports that Obi has been offered the position of running mate to Atiku Abubakar in a planned coalition for the 2027 general elections. The movement described the report as unfounded and warned against misinformation, reaffirming Obi's commitment to fighting bad governance, corruption, and poverty in Nigeria. The Obidient movement stated that while they are engaged in discussions with partners and stakeholders towards a coalition, there is no truth to the report of Obi being offered the vice presidential slot. They emphasized that Obi remains a member of the Labour Party and would make any announcement about a change in affiliation himself. The denial follows a media report that Atiku had proposed a vice presidential slot to Obi during a private meeting in the United Kingdom with an agreement to serve only one term before handing over power. The Obidient movement urged Nigerians and the media to avoid speculation and focus on national development. All right, today I'm delighted to be joined by two esteemed guests. Here in the studio we have Mr. Peter Nosike. Mr. Nosike is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He is also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Great to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And of course, joining us virtually is Comrade Pius Duko, a public affairs analyst and social media commentator. Good evening. It's great to have you join us on the issues. All right, we understand that you're still new here with us. And we want to start with Mr. Nosike, who's here with me in the studio, taking a look at the situation. Peter Obi, vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar. Do you ever see such a coalition or a ticket happening ahead of the 2027 elections?
Well, the issue is this. Peter Obi has been Atiku'S vice president before. That was in 2019. And to me, it was the most viable ticket that we've ever had in this country. The team of Peter Obi and Atiku. Because one of the biggest problems that Nigeria is having is that we've not had a thoroughbred businessman as our president. Since the day of independence till today, we've not had a thoroughbred businessman as our president. Because one, business people don't think like others. Imagine what Donald Trump is doing as we speak. It is happening because Donald Trump is a businessman. Joe Biden didn't do it. Obama did not do it. Reason, they are not businessmen. So businessmen always think of profit and nothing more. And for me, the 2019 ticket was the best ticket that we have ever had in this country. Then for the fast forward to this press statement by the Atiku team, because that statement did not come out of Atiku. Atiku did not say that. So the issue is this. Atiku will be 80 by 2027. So, and he cannot go for more than one term, which means, assuming he wins in 2027, he can only go one term, and that's at 84. He would get out of power. He cannot be the president of Nigeria at 88. So they feel that giving P2B that a kind of a gift will sell. Understand? Just join him one term, then after you take over. But Nigeria is unpredictable. Understand me? So there's even no guarantee that P2B will take over if he goes with Atiku. Understand? Because why Babangida Gwadabe Dasuki overthrew Shehu Shaga's government in 1984 is to stop Atiku'S from taking over. And we know that history has a way of repeating itself. Because Shagari and the Atiku'S has finished their first tenure, which ended in 1983. And they now won second term. Understand? And and there are indications that after Shagari said second term, that he may hand over to the next Atiku'S, who is an Igbo man. But these guys, these military guys, or the North, don't want an Igbo president. So they have to strike. That was how Buhari became the head of state in 1st January 1984. So there's no guarantee that if P2B becomes vice president of Atiku and Atiku just do one term, that these army guys will not strike again. So that's the thing. P2B have to take his time before going to any deal.
Okay, if P2B truly wants to rescue Nigeria, why shouldn't he take the pragmatic route by joining forces with Atiku, even as a running mate to break APC's dominance in 2027?
The issue is the only way for Tinubu to be pushed out is a strong coalition.
Okay.
It's a strong coalition. And then, as we speak, the North, I don't mean the Northern politicians, the Northern masses are not happy with the Tinubu administration. Okay. So it will be very easy for them to be mobilized that's for Atiku. Understand me? And the P2B already has a southeast, understand me, in his pocket. Because anytime, any day, there's nowhere P2B is that Igbos will not go with him unless Igbo bastards. Understand me? Unless Igbo bastards.
What about the Obedience? Because it's not only about the Southeast alone. The Obedience cut across various ethnic groups, whether Igbos, Hausa, Yoruba, or whatever.
That is what I'm saying. I'm talking of the Southeasterners.
Okay.
So a combination of the south, that's of the north, southeast, would give them the distance, or the presidential ticket.
Okay.
Mind you, in 2023, assuming that P2B has run with Atiku, going by the votes that Mahmoud Yakubu gave to them, this is not what Nigerians voted. Understand me? But it was Mahmoud that was just sharing votes.
But taking a look at it, if Peter Obi had run as a running mate in the 2023 election, would there have been any Obidient? Would there have been any Labour Party? Would there have been a situation where he would have gathered the votes?
There would have been a strong PDP. There would have been a very strong PDP. And because the southeasterners and Nigerian youth trusted Obi, they would have gone with him. It just to convince...
Go with him under a ticket where a northerner is set to replace a northerner in Aso Rock. Do you think that the Obidient movement would have followed such a ticket?
What Nigerians want somebody who will impact positively on their life.
As a vice president or a northern candidate?
Where he comes from is not important.
Let's not forget, a vice president is more or less an errand boy to the president.
A vice president is in charge of the economy. A vice president is...
Is that the case we are seeing with talking about the vice president to Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the moment?
What does he know? Understand me?
Okay, what about the vice president? Say, who was Onibanjo? Who was the vice to Buhari? What was his relevance? What economic plan did he really make? And even before that,
he's a professor of law.
So are you?
That's why I'm talking
about.
What
is that going to be different?
A thoroughbred businessman.
What is that going to be different with Atiku? Will the Atiku now trust Peter Obi wholeheartedly to take all the praise?
That's why I'm talking about a thoroughbred businessman.
Under Obasanjo, was Atiku in charge of the economy?
Sure, and he did well.
He did well.
Perfectly well. One, it was under at Obasanjo Atiku that BPE was formed. It was under Atiku Obasanjo that our debt was cancelled.
Was it the Atiku's master plan?
Under Atiku Obasanjo, Nigeria was #1 economy in Africa. Understand me?
Do you think Atiku has such a stroke to really bring back to Aso Rock and mastermind all of this again? Because now we are deeply into debt still. Once again, I beg your pardon.
One, I'm not campaigning for Atiku, but I'm telling you what I'm quoting history.
Okay.
Understand me? So, and I said that 2019 presidential ticket was the best that we've ever had in this country. Understand me? The ticket of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua and Goodluck Jonathan, you cannot expect anything there. Understand me? The ticket of Jonathan and Sambo, that's this Kaduna man.
Yes.
There's nothing there. Understand? The ticket of Buhari and Oshibajo, nothing. The current ticket of Tinubu and Shetima, there's nothing there.
Buhari Oshibajo had massive amount of votes in the 2014-2015 election.
2014-2015, all those votes were allocated. Mind you, in Kanu, they scored 2 million votes. And the INEC, the electoral commissioner, was burned to death under 1 month. He and his family died in a mysterious way under 1 month. That is the electoral commissioner in Kanu. No investigation was carried out to today. Boko Haram was controlling most of Borno State in 2015. They scored over 1 million votes. Understand me? With all the insecurity in Borno State. Excuse me.
Sorry.
who voted. Understand me? So they did everything that to make sure that Jonathan goes out. Understand me? So their supporter, it was a rigged election. So the ticket that Nigerians would have been proud of was the 2019 ticket of Atiku and Obi.
What about the 2011 election that brought Jonathan in, talking about his first election as president?
I say Sambo is nobody. What would you expect? I'm talking of thoroughbred businessmen.
Okay.
Check what Trump is doing in the United States.
Let's take a look at it. Considering Nigerians' harsh political realities and how opposition unity is key to winning elections, can Obi realistically mount another national campaign alone without being reduced to a spoiler?
Which is a spoiler?
Because
what?
The camp of talking about the president, current president Tinubu, felt that had it been he liaised and worked with Atiku'S staying back in the PDP, it would have brought a stronger opposition to the president in the last election. But if he's going to still run again as a candidate alone with another vice who's not too popular, is it not going to be a spoiler, sharing the votes of whoever comes out from the PDP, for instance, or another coalition?
Well, PDP has become a broken vehicle that will not be repaired till after 2027. Labour Party has become a broken vehicle that cannot be repaired until after 2027. So I'm not expecting P2B to run under Labour Party. I'm not expecting Atiku to run under Labour Party. If there's going to be a coalition, it will not be Labour Party or PDP.
Okay.
Understand? If there's going to be a coalition, it will not be Labour Party or PDP.
If that coalition stands, who will be the best candidate on that ticket?
Well, for me, by next month, I'll be publishing a book titled The Abuse of Power, How Democracy Has Turned into a Tyranny of the Few. And in it, I listed why coalition fails. And number one is always the choice of presidential candidates. That's one of the reasons why coalitions fail, because everybody feels that I will deliver. Okay. Even Kwankwaso was making noise in 2023. Only that to get about a million votes. So, the choice of presidential candidates is one of the major reasons why coalitions fail. Then number two is traitors. Understand me?
Within the party?
Within the party, just like what
happening in Labour Party.
It's happening that's in PDP. It's happening in SDP.
Okay.
Understand me? So they have that to move into a fresh party. Understand? Not just a P2B and Atiku. Others who are not satisfied with what is happening in the country as we speak. But the biggest coalition is the coalition of the masses against APC. Understand me?
Okay. Given that coalitions often involve compromise, we all know that when there's a coalition, everybody's going to have a situation where they will have to compromise their own personal agenda. Is it politically naive for the Obidient movement to reject even the possibility of a vice presidential slot outright, especially if it means getting a seat at the table?
The issue is this: one, we are still about 2 years away to the election, about 20 months away to the election. And when I talk, and that's been realistic, there's no way Atiku will step down for P2B unless Atiku don't want to run.
Should he not compromise? At least now
no,
he has tried and tried.
Wait. If you compromise, he will become what? Vice to P2B?
At least become a godfather in the
After
in the
being
coalition.
vice president.
Why not be a godfather a kingmaker, and of course,
I'm not
become somebody who become relevant behind the scene. Must he be president? Must Atiku be president?
I'm not Atiku, but this should, when a coalition is formed, if people should try to put the interest of the nation first before theirs. Coalition fails when you are saying it must be me, it must be me.
Okay.
So if Atiku can say the what concern Nigeria is more important than what concern me, let another person go. Understand? That would be good.
Okay.
But if he insists on going, and he is in a coalition, P2B is in a coalition, and others are in a coalition, Atiku is the highest political office holder, being a former vice president. So there's no way he will step down for anybody, unless he will say, I will not run.
Well, taking a look at the calculations, let's not forget that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the south. And after 8 years, originally zoning looks like it might be going back to the north. Would it be realistic?
It's not in the constitution. What
no,
you're saying
it doesn't have to be in the constitution.
What you're saying is not in the constitution.
We know that this is a negotiation among the political elites. It's not even, it even has to be in the constitution. Okay, now, if there's a calculation, Atiku comes in for 4 years and oust the president in 2027, what then now happens after his 4 years? Would the Northerners be willing and ready to accept a candidate from the south like Peter Obi, who would now run in, maybe after running as vice for 4 years, he would now come in as president? Would they not call and clamor that, okay, we've done 4 years, it's not our business, you guys made the choice, we are going to do our 8 years. Atiku had an arrangement with you, that is not our concern. The elite to say, okay, come, let's not continue. Since it looks like the North worked, the South have already missed their 4 years.
Well, I've told you what happened in 1983. Understand? That Babangida, Gwadabe, Dasuki, and others envisaged Shehu Shagari hand over to an Igbo man. And because of it, they staged the coup. So there's no guarantee that if P2B runs with Atiku and they do 4 years, that they will agree that a Southerner or somebody from the Southeast will become president. Understand? So
Sorry.
It is a risk. Life is about risk.
Are you encouraging someone like Peter Obi to take a risk and take a gamble with a ticket as vice president to Atiku Abubakar in line with the fact that in the future he's going to run as president after a one-term deal? Would you trust that Atiku to run for just 4 years and Peter Obi will have a chance to come in as president after a one-term?
I say that age is by 2031, Atiku will be 84 years. Atiku will be 84 years.
Don't forget, as president, he has the right and the powers to do
and
undo.
He has the right to destroy Obi. Understand me?
Okay.
He has understand me, but I'm telling you,
when he becomes president, things can actually change.
he has a right. That's what I'm talking about. Integrity. That's what I'm talking about integrity. It is a risk. But what Nigerian masses want is not where anybody comes from, but the person that will help to better their life anywhere he comes from.
Do you think that's the case? Because we've seen situations in the last election where people voted along ethnic and religious lines, not minding whether it was going to better the lot of the people.
In 2023, P2B won 12 states. Southeast has only 5 states. But he won 12 states, which means people did not vote along ethnic lines.
Okay.
They needed a change, understand me, and they voted for the person that they feel that will give them that change. P2B won 12 states. Tinubu won 12 states. Atiku won 12 states. A first timer. Understand me? That's why all of them are afraid of him. And he did that in less than 6 months. He did that in less than 6 months. Excuse me. Then imagine if you give P2B 1 year. Understand me? And hunger is going to increase in this country. Understand me? Hunger is going to increase in this country. And why do people need change? Hunger, frustration. Understand? So the issue is this, and a hungry man doesn't care where the person that will give him food comes from. That's why I keep on saying, even if it's somebody from Niger, from Chad, from Sierra Leone, that will get to Aso Rock and things will become fine in this country, I will support that person.
That could be you, but we see a lot of people who come on social media and even on the street who have a different opinion of who they want to be president.
How better off are they? Is suffering and smiling. How better off are they?
Some people don't care. As far as the person is from their region, they don't care.
How better? What is a Yoruba man gaining more than me that's an Igbo man? That's the question. Is he buying fuel cheaper than me? Is he paying his electricity bill? Is it cheaper than me? So they don't think. When you go to the market, nobody asks you where you come from. Understand me? When you go to the filling station, nobody asks you, are you from Hausa, Yoruba, or Igbo? Understand me? So the more they begin to think of to put country first, the better for them. In 2022-23, I said it, if you vote wrongly, prepare to suffer. Understand me? And what happened has happened. Now they shout hunger, hunger, hunger. Understand? Let them do it again in 2027, the hunger will be worse.
All right, taking a look at Peter Obi before we leave this conversation. Is Peter Obi on there estimating talking about the Obidient now, because Peter Obi has not made comments about whether he is going to accept such deal or not, or whether there's any deal as far as this is concerned. But the Obidient, are they underestimating the strategic value of a one-term Atiku presidency? Because if you take a look at it, it's offering, the offer says step aside after one term. Wouldn't that position Peter Obi perfectly for 2031?
I say it is a gamble.
Okay.
Somebody may promise you I will do just one term. And go in and even do 2 more terms. Understand me? So it is a risk. It is a risk. But for me, Tinubu is not a credible alternative.
So you would advise him to take a deal if it's on the table?
We have seen what Tinubu, Buhari did in 8 years. We have seen what Tinubu has done in 2 years. So he's not a credible alternative. Some people are saying that if a P2B run with Atiku in 2027, they will not vote for P2B. Atiku. I will not ask them, who will you vote for? Will you now vote Tinubu? Understand? If P2B and Atiku runs in 2027, you say you will not vote them. Are you now going to vote Tinubu? Has Tinubu become a credible alternative? So if it's people that are thinking, they will say, okay, we've seen Tinubu's 4 years. Let us see how Atiku'S 4 years will be. Understand me? Let us see how Atiku'S 4 years will be. Because this man has been running for many years. The same way that Buhari ran up to 4 times before he won. And it is, in a way, it is good that Buhari won. And Nigeria has seen his capacity. Because if Buhari did not rule this country, people have been saying that if Buhari ruled, that Nigeria would have been turned to the United States. But we have seen that he had no capacity, that incompetence is his second name. So now Atiku has been running since Atiku stepped down from Abiola in 1993. Understand me? He ran in 2007 under MAC and had been aspiring since then. So now maybe he has something that he feels that he can do differently. So assuming he gets the opportunity, Nigeria can now let us see what this guy has been running over the years. He may end up like Buhari too. Understand me? Or do something that Nigerians would be proud of. Understand me? So for me, Tinubu shouldn't be an alternative in 2027.
Well, taking a look at Peter Obi, is he running out of time?
Why?
At 65. Obi will be nearly 70 by the 2031 elections.
No.
If he misses...
Who said Obi is 65?
Let's say he's in his 60s now.
Obi should be 62, 63 as we speak.
Let's say in his 60s. And
so in 2027, he's going to be 64, 65.
Yeah, that's the calculation. And by 2031,
he will be 68, 69.
Goes to 70.
Yes.
What if he misses the 2027 opportunity of being on a ticket that will win?
Yeah, Yahaya Bello that run at 40s, what did he do?
I'm not even talking about that now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about his situation. If he misses in 2027,
Bello that run at that in his 40s, what did he do?
What will happen to his political capital, for instance, if he loses in 2027? Are the Obidient going to be patient for him in 2031? Is he going to still have the political capital if he loses out of any ticket that goes into Aso Rock?
Well, I don't know. I'm not I'm not his spokesperson. I don't know what is in his mind. But I keep on saying it is a coalition that will defeat Tinubu in 2027, not an individual political party. So if they want to remove Tinubu, they should form a strong coalition.
The coalition, who leads the coalition? Which candidate should lead the coalition to victory?
If you are a landlord, you now begin to ask, who is my tenant? You have that to build your house first. So let them build a coalition first.
But you know the kind of tenant you will need. Definitely, it's not everybody that comes to...
It's in your head. Yes. It's in your head and not in reality.
At least you will let the people know, okay, you're calling an agent. You will tell them, this is the kind of tenant I want. This is the kind of qualities I want in the tenant. So we cannot just say you are waiting for anybody. Then you have to streamline to the kind of people you want to rent that apartment.
So the issue is, let a strong coalition be formed first. Then let us know.
Are you not seeing any coalition yet? At least we are seeing SDP. They are beginning to build a coalition.
I say let us see a coalition first before they will start thinking of who will there. And the food has to be done first before we begin to think how to eat it.
What if we have three political bigwigs? Like we had in 2023, still Peter Obi running on a ticket, Atiku running on a ticket, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu still running on a ticket. What would be the scenario?
APC will still win because their margin will not be big enough, so it will be easy to rig. Understand me? It will be easy. It is easy to rig 1 million votes, 500,000 votes, but nobody can rig 5 million votes. So that's why we talk about when an election becomes too big to rig, and that's what coalition does. It makes the election to be too big to rig.
All right, let's go to the next conversation, which is really interesting ahead of the next election. Senior advocate of Nigeria, talking about Femi Falana, has criticized a proposed bill that seeks to making voting compulsory for all eligible Nigerian citizens, calling it unconstitutional. The bill, introduced by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, aims to address the voter apathy and encourage electoral participation. However, Falana argues that it contradicts several provisions of the 1999 Constitution, including those protecting the rights to privacy, freedom of thought, and conscience. Falana cited several landmark court cases to support his position, including Wale versus Ebonyi State Independent Electoral Commission, which ruled that open ballot voting was unconstitutional due to its violation of the right to privacy. He also referenced the Supreme Court's decision in Medical and Dental Practitioners Disciplinary Tribunal versus Okonkwo, which upheld the patient's right to reject medical treatment based on religious belief. Falana believes that instead of mandating voting, the National Assembly should prioritize amending the Electoral Act to address more pressing electoral concerns. Falana suggests that the National Assembly should focus on incorporating proposals from the UAE's Electoral Reform Panel, such as unbundling the Independent National Electoral Commission and introducing proportional representation. He also emphasized the need to make Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which deals with fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, justiciable in order to truly promote popular participation in the democratic process. Is it that the political elite is worried with what happened in the 2023 election that many Nigerians will not be interested in coming out to vote in the next election? Is it the reason why they are all about introducing some amendments where people will have to be forced or coerced to vote at all costs?
Well, the issue is not, one, it just passed a second reading.
Okay.
And when a bill passes a second reading, it will now be sent to a committee to look at it. Understand? That's a committee of a kind of experts. But for me, I know that it will not exceed the night of the day. It will not work. Because even in the United States, where we borrowed our democracy, there's nothing like compulsory voting. There's nothing like compulsory voting. But these people have seen that if there's no strong coalition in 2027, there will be a very big voter party. In 2023, we have only 29% turnout. 29% voter turnout. Excuse me.
Sorry.
In 2023. But in America, since 2016, 2020, 2024, they have been having between 66%, 64% voter turnout. 66%, 64% voter turnout in America for 3 consecutive elections. But in 2023, we had just 28-29% voter turnout. And if there's no strong coalition in 2027, the voter turnout will not be up to 20%. Many people will say that voting will be a waste of time. Understand? Because one, they are going to rig it, number one. Number two, their vote will not count. So why are you now coming out? That's to queue under a hot sun. At the end of the day, your time will be wasted. So it is this kind of a thing that Abbas has seen and now want to bring this criminal bill. One, it will not be passed into law, and even if it is passed into law, it cannot be implemented. Understand me? For somebody like me, they have to carry me from my room to the voting center. Understand me? They have to come and carry me from my room to the voting center. Understand? If there's no coalition in 2027, I will stay in my house. Understand me?
If people are being forced to participate in the democratic
it has not
process,
happened anywhere in the world, and it will not start there.
would that not create anarchy and chaos during the election?
It's just they are not busy enough that's in the assembly. So this
Sorry. And taking a look at,
it's a joke.
are there no other ways? Because Femi Falana made a recommendation of the WISE report that if it's been taken into cognizance by the National Assembly, and there is implementation, and the fact that there have been a lot of electoral reforms that have been brought into play since even the Yaradua time. If all of these have been effected, would that not even encourage voters instead of forcing them to come and vote?
Now, assuming if BVAS is made constitutional, understand me, the transmission of election of
Results in real time.
voters is made constitutional, understand me. So this will encourage people to come out and vote, understand me. But when they say that it's not a must that we will use the BVAS, it's not a must we will use the IREV, nobody will come out. So no matter what they do, they may not get up to 20% turnout in 2027 unless serious electoral reform is taken and made constitutional. And a strong coalition emerges that will be competitive enough. If not, they will not get up to 20% turnout in 2027.
And what does that say about INEC, for instance? Because now we know that Yakubu is still the INEC chairman.
No, he will go very soon.
How sure are you?
Very, very sure. He cannot conduct 2027.
Is constitutionally?
He cannot conduct 2027. I'm telling you that. I'm sure by now, Tinubu must be looking for who he will make a INEC national chairman.
Since the president still makes the choice of who is the chairman of INEC, how are we sure that the next person, Nigerians will trust the next umpire who's going to take over from Yakubu Mohammed ahead of the 2027 elections?
Jed, excuse me. In football, do you trust the referee?
At least we expect the referee to be fair to both teams.
Do you trust him?
Yeah, we expect that.
You depend on yourself, on your skill, understand me? So Nigerians don't need to trust the INEC chairman.
Sorry?
Excuse me. All they need to do is to come out together and cast their votes. Understand me? And as I said, there's what is called too big to rig in elections. Nobody can rig a 5 million difference in votes. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. But when Tinubu runs, Atiku runs, Compulsory runs, Shawore runs, there's going to be very narrow. The margin will not be this enough. Understand me? So it will be very easy for the INEC chairman to rig it in favor of the incumbent.
So now that Falana has said this, are we saying that this bill is not going to fly? And even if it flies, what is going to be the arrangement like? How would they even enforce it? Because Nigeria is quite a big country. How do you enforce such a bill, for instance, if it's been passed into law?
They cannot pass it into law. They cannot pass it into law.
What if it happens?
It will not happen.
If it happens, Mr. Anoski,
it will not happen. Where would they get their decision of passing it into law? There's nowhere it is in the Constitution, even in the American Constitution. Understand me? So they cannot pass it into law. The committee where they will send it will say no to it.
All right, Mr. Anoski, we're pressed for time. We have to leave it here. We must say that it's been a pleasure having you on the issues this evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right, of course, that's how we wrap it up for tonight's episode of the Issues on Voice of the People TV. We've, of course, dealt with the stories so far, and of course, we'll continue to monitor the development closely. We hope you stay engaged and informed. Remember, your voice matters. Stay involved and keep the conversation going. I am Jerry Apeloi, and this has been the Issues and Voice of the People TV. Good night, Nigeria.